Okay, hi, Mr. Kwong here. Sorry about the microphone audio today. It's bad because my other mic's not working. All right, just want to go through question one, four, and five, and just some parts of it. So I'm just going to jump to question one first. 1A and 1B, no issue. I just want to highlight for 1C, you're asked to express as a 2-byte binary number. So even though, like for example, if you look at the answer, right, you know that there are 0 bytes in front, right? You still need to write them in because the question wants you to express it at 2 bytes. So you need to have all 16 bits represented there. So make sure you have that. Right, then ASCII over Unicode. Most of you understood that ASCII is basically using 7 bits to represent up to 127 characters, right? So you understand that there was a limitation. So the main limitation of ASCII is that it doesn't give you large enough space to represent sufficient characters. It was just restricted to mostly the English alphabet and some other characters. Okay, so if Unicode, that gives you a lot more space, right? But that also means that Unicode technically, right, will take up more bytes when you store in Unicode. Okay, so in terms of, so some you mentioned about storage space, some you mentioned about transfer speed. So both are technically fine, right? Okay, then the last one is actually a bit of a networking question. Describe how a 2-byte Unicode character can be transmitted over the internet. So most of you could say that it was converted into, some of you mentioned it's converted into bits. Yeah, but remember it's already stored in bits, man. So that's not the main point. You need to mention this is the part of networking where you say it's broken up into packets. It's smaller data segments through packets. Then you send them over the internet, but the path will differ according to network traffic. It's not a predetermined path. Okay, then the reassembly will happen at the end. All right, so most of the marks is given for the breaking up into packets and then the different routes. Okay, so make sure you have those points lah. Okay, next we're gonna look at next one is question four. Right, question four we talk about this database question, right? I think most of you could handle database question. Just want to highlight some of the key issues. So first one, explain examples when the table is not in second normal form. Right, in this case, right, we told you that okay, the loan ID clearly in this case is your primary key. But you can see that the red color cells, right, the loan date and the return date are dependent loan ID, but the title and author need not depend on the loan ID, even though it's inside there lah. It's just referring to it can be referenced by the book ID. Same for student name as well. So this is the student ID. So you have to be clear that in this case, right, you need to mention that your non-key attributes are fully dependent on the primary key. In this case, the only primary key is loan ID here. Okay, the loan ID makes up the primary key. Okay, so these other two things are not these other attributes are not dependent on your loan ID. Okay. Okay, then for part B, state correct requirements for a table to be 3NF, right? So remember, if you want to be 3NF, you must make sure your table is 2NF first, then whatever conditions you have for 3NF. So this case is transitive dependencies, not much difficulty for that. Okay, then the rest of stuff, the drawing of the ER diagram and stuff, that one is okay. Most of you can handle it. You can refer to the answer for more details. All right. Then this one, state 2 reasons why a NoSQL database might be more suitable for the library. Some of you were very specific, say because I talk about music and then you talk about must have genre, so you literally mentioned oh must create NoSQL easy to create and uh another part, okay, and another column, right? But if we just simplify it, because the keyword here is your dynamic schema versus fixed schema. Okay, so for dynamic schema, right, okay, if you do a fixed schema, right, you need to make sure that all your data follow the same structure. Okay, all your cells must be full, or you're gonna accept, or you must put like a null entry inside. Okay, but for NoSQL, you don't have to do that. Okay, and you can also easily update your schema along the way as well. All right, so for example, let's say halfway through, okay, let's say you're just storing books. Okay, so books will have title, author, publisher. But later you want to store CDs, right? You want to have genre as well. It's easy to just add one more field inside. It doesn't affect your books as well, right? Then another thing that some of you mentioned, which I think was quite good, you mentioned that NoSQL can be horizontally scaled easily compared to SQL. So horizontal scaling, okay, is basically you build up your database to be larger through the expansion by using to have more capacity. So let's say for example you are running out of space, you want to create another server somewhere else. it's easy to link the two servers up in NoSQL compared to SQL, right? So these are the 3 points that we'll take. Okay, next we are looking at question 5. All right, definitions were quite badly done. Most of you lost marks over here. You have to be very clear about what you are defining. So for affordance, right, it's always a property or feature on the web page or on the app, okay, that prompts the user what can be done. Okay, so you can say, for example, your buttons actually look like buttons. You have a speaker icon to tell you this is to adjust volume. Okay, so these are the common ones. All right, mental model is what the user believes about system. Okay, and the keyword is the user believes about the system, and then also follow up by reference when trying to use the system. Okay, so this is like, for example, you know that if you see red, okay, most have mentioned the colors. Red means wrong or danger. Green means correct or okay to move on. Okay, and some of you missed out on the examples. Okay, so because this is specifically talking about web design, right? Your examples need to be related to web page UI. Okay, so this one, please be careful. Definition marks are quite easy to get, just need to spend time to memorize them. Okay, the next question, I think most of you can do, quite straightforward. You could find errors very easily. I've highlighted the common ones for you. So one was the name. Okay, because the login is via email address, right? There's no need for the user to enter the name. It just creates extra work for them, and you don't need to check for it anyway. Okay, then books drop down. This is, most of you could see is very messy. There's 400 books. Very hard to choose the books like that. Then also I mentioned that sorry, we should consider using a radio button, okay, to select. That's fine as well, or checkbox. That's also okay as well. Okay, then adding the titles, orange one, you typing titles is a problem, okay, because your format might not be correct, and that means the user have to refer to the list on top here as well. Okay, so that's difficult. I didn't highlight the loan date, but yeah, loan date is here as well. Loan date. Okay, I realize you can't see my cursor, but it's okay. Loan date, right? Please enter today's date, right? Since you're running off a web server, right? There should be no issues about getting today's date. Okay, and it's no point showing you today's date because the user just need to look at the bottom of the laptop screen to see the date, right? It'd be more useful to show, for example, the due date, right? Then that'd be more useful, and you can auto generate that one. Then, of course, your cancel and submit button. Submit is in the normal hyperlink. Cancel is a button, so cancel is easier for the user to trigger. All right, then you have this one, the purple one. Please note that for some items, yeah, the warning is very small. Okay, so you might want to make it more prominent. So maybe it could be like just above the submit button and in clearer fonts. Some of you mentioned that the login page should be on the first page first, then the book section will come in after that. I thought that was quite good as well because you are also checking you are doing the verification of the password first. Because the user type wrong password, right? Then he fill in the form, right? He try to submit, he'll get error, then you just wasted his time. So let him enter email password first, that's fine. Some user mentioned that there should be more spacing between the login section and the book selection section. That is not wrong, but that is a very minor error. And I didn't want to accept that one because I have basically boxed out the two sections. So it is already clearly segmented. Your improvement is just to add a line spacing between the two sections. Which, if let's say I don't have the segment, then yes, you are kind of correct. But then because with the box drawn in for you already, right, it's not so important anymore. Okay, generally this question most of you got close to full marks. So I think this is something I think is quite easy for you to pick up. Right? Okay, that's all for my part. Thank you.